Another successful inspection, and this time I saw my queen. She is a trooper. She's got a laying pattern where she's visiting everything in the top box, and the only thing left in the bottom right now, because I moved those combs up, was 2 lobes with some drone on it. So they need to build her a ladder of burr comb down to the bottom when they get filled out, which might not be for a while. So they're storing honey and pollen down in that lower box. Not really the way I thought it would go, but I think we have to wait a little longer. Again, I didn't have the camera out when I was working. I'm too shy. It's a lot to handle, trying not to get stung. And so saw the queen, saw eggs, saw larvae, pulled a couple of drones out, and unfortunately the one fell in and the other I threw out into the bushes here. So, but there were no Varroa on them, so I am optimistic there is a very low Varroa count in here. I still have the strip in there for the 45-day treatment, so that's been replaced next to the frame they're building out, so there's a lot of bees brushing against it. And they started on the plastic frame closest to the natural frame that I had in there, so I'm tricking them. I'm flipping it around. Nobody started laying on it, so I want my queen to be laying on it instead of any random workers. And let's see, she was walking around, but she hadn't seemed to have gotten to that plastic frame, so that's on the same level on the second box, upper box, so maybe she'll get there. But I'm tricking them, and I turn the frame around so they'd start building out the other side, and maybe that'll spread them out a little bit and get them working on both sides of the frame at the same time. And right now I think they're just trying to recover from my smoking them. And looked in the second lower box just to make sure they weren't making a supersedure queen cell somewhere, although after reading an article in the American Bee Journal, it's quite possibly that they turn it on its side and it could be very normal looking and under all of the bees that are minding the brood. So a lot of capped brood, so I think we're back to an egg cycle. Lots of eggs, and then the brood. Not a whole lot of larvae, so we're back to eggs and cap brood. So maybe that's just what we need right now, because we need baby bees to become brood minders, and then maybe we'll really take off. I think that's the possibility that might happen. And once this cap brood comes out anywhere in the next 10 days, so that'll get them somewhere. Let's see, what else? They like to propolize the frames to each other. That's an interesting behavior. They hit the ears, the little ears, the space, the 3/8 inch between the frames, and they hit the frame rest with some propolis to hold them down, which is, to me, that's an interesting idea. They're light propolis on other parts. Like I say, this time they were gentle to me. Last time I pinched some of them and they stung me on the hand a couple times, so that was a slip of the tool, and crushed them right where my hand was, so they jumped on my hand. And that's the story I wanted to relate about these bees being Claxton bees. I keep, not revealing the apiary they came from, because that's just, bees are bees. But during a demonstration at one of my clubs, I wrote about it in my blog. They jumped the man who was providing them and went for his face, and they were stirred up. But I didn't want to, have a bunch of mean bees. So I was a little worried that they'd be mean, and turns out that they're in the right condition here to not be so mean. I'm trying to get that one picture of that one fanning, but it's not having it. My cameras are not focusing on these things, but you can see her fanning, saying everything's all clear, the human is gone, this is where we're living. So it always seems to be just one bee that's doing that. I don't have like a whole bunch of them doing that anytime. It's just one solid trooper that wants to announce that this is this place to stay. So, and ventilating. I don't know, maybe that's just ventilating, trying to get the smoke out. So much I don't know. But they're calm. You know, so don't worry about buying bees from Claxton. They're lovely little guys. And next 10 days we're going to find out what Hawaii brings to this. So next year, maybe if I'm in the mood for a box of Claxton bees, I'll be certainly going to buy one. Pollen gathering continues, and they do mind the upper entrance, which is preparing them for a super of medium frames to go on here after the mite treatment is done. But I'm thinking that was a precautionary mite treatment, and we'll see what happens when I get my Varroa shaker and have some extra bees here. We'll have more brood with the next round with the nurse bees coming out. So I think we're in a safe zone right now, and going forward we're going to continue to monitor if they move in and start feeding on babies. But like I say, those 2 drones were clean, so they prefer drones. We're in a good spot. And that's all I can ask for. So thanks for watching.